I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
It's time to get accidentally casual. It's a podcast for BioWare fans and more. We cover story-based RPGs and stuff. My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me are my co-hosts Seeker Cat.
Woo!
And the Tucker.
Hello.
By the way, on the last podcast, Seeker, your audio cut out when you were doing something and I introduced you, and I had to go and find a clip of you saying something. And I didn't do it very good, and you're like, eh.
I know, I heard that. I was listening to it, and I was like, why do I sound so negative? God, I gotta sound really hyped, like, next in case anyone thinks I'm just phoning this in.
That's because your audio cut out, and I didn't have anything there.
Why didn't you just send a message to her and ask?
Yeah, I would have just, like, gone,
because
woo,
I didn't notice it till late in the editing process, and I probably wouldn't have gotten something. And I could have tried a lot harder because at some point you sound excited. I could have easily gone back to the Dragon Age podcast where you squealed, like the whole podcast. And I had to edit
the entire podcast is above a certain level of decibels.
You made some really interesting noises on that.
Interesting noises.
Before we get going, I want to plug the Accidentally Casual Gaming Club. You got 2 weeks to finish Detroit Become Human. And then we'll have a spoiler cast online. So be ready for that. That podcast should be on October 30th or 31st. Ability Drain will be filling in for me because I'm a party pooper. So this week is a questionable podcast. We're going to go into a lot of questions that we've been getting because we've been getting a lot of questions. And to clear out that, if you want to chime in for future podcasts, you can email us at accidentallycasual@gmail.com.
Woo!
Also send visuals. I love the visuals you've been getting.
And not to mention, guys, like, we do read. Well, I can't guarantee Tucker reads anything because we can't literally, like, you know, Alex from Clockwork Orange make him read anything, but I and Minius certainly read everything.
Yeah, W Smile's been sending a bunch of really weird Tucker memes.
Oh, and I've been missing them? Damn.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
How's
that
my
is
fault?
on you.
Because you don't have, because you get access to them early.
Yeah, but I didn't know someone was sending that.
Because you don't look at them.
Well, yeah, because I you know.
Some of them are really weird.
Oh, that's even better.
There's one of you ignoring people and then sniffing cocaine that is representing, like, derailing the podcast, I think.
Well, I'm not a fan of cocaine. I just like the way it smells.
Woo! All right.
I will tell that to a cop the next time I get pulled over with, like, fucking white shit all over my face.
How often does that happen? Dead silence.
Pass? I plead the fifth.
Okay. Seeker really wants to talk about Spider-Man, so towards the end of this podcast, we're going to have a mini Spider-Man spoiler cast. It is the Spider-Man on the PS4. If you don't have a PS4, I'm super bummed for you. Because there's some excellent first-person games.
Right now it seems exclusives. PS4 is winning.
Because, I mean, it costs money to make really good single-player games, and you can make more money making cheap multiplayer games. So the big companies, like multi-platform companies, are doing that. And Sony isn't, because they want you to buy a PlayStation. That's where they make their money. So they can afford to go in and make better games like that.
But all the big critical darlings of this year, like God of War, I know Horizon Zero Dawn was not this year, but like Spider-Man and I'm forgetting one. But there's been another big juggernaut. All the big juggernauts this year have been very linear, single-player heavy games.
On Sony.
On Sony, yeah, they're pretty much PS4 exclusives as well.
By the way, PS5 official. May not be called PS5. We already knew that. Coming out next year, almost certainly, because they don't.
Oh, good. So that's the 4-minute timer. So if you think about it, aren't horses just kind of like vegan cars?
Did you time the 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you know I ruined it anyway by going off topic after lecturing you to not go off topic?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so horses are vegan cars. Try to prove me wrong.
They?
Well, they're not cars. They're horses. So
But they're vegan cars. They eat grass and stuff. They transport you from A to B.
cars are mechanical horses. It's
that are
something,
meat eaters
They don't
because they
no,
consume oil,
which
and
is like
gas,
plant stuff.
which is which is like dinosaur bones.
No, that is a myth. There were not that many fucking dinosaurs. We'd be so out of oil. It's like
Isn't oil
it's
made
like
from just bones
no,
that
it's
have
made
been
from like
compressed?
algae that gets compressed, man.
Well, it's
Come on.
everything, every
It
single
could,
thing.
yeah,
that
but
gets
it's not fucking dinosaur bones, okay?
Yeah,
It's
it
not
is.
all
Crude
dinosaur
oil was made
bones.
over millions of years from tiny plants and animals called plankton. The
Yes,
plankton,
plankton.
on the left would
Well, okay,
form
but
oil. in
but
about
it's not
150 million years'
definitely
time.
not dinosaur bones. Bones do not have any enough oil in them. By the way,
Anyway.
this is a BioWare podcast.
Yeah.
This is kind of a I actually really like the way they screw around, and I like getting angry at Tucker. Someone asked me, I said I didn't have any enemies in the last podcast, and then someone said, "Why isn't Tucker your enemy?" Like, no, I really like Tucker.
No, he asked, "Was that make Tucker?" And I responded
Yeah,
to him, and so did you.
You said you were a demigod.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so some questions. By the we already went over the email, but let's get into this. We got a bunch of. I asked, by the way, the nerdiest question wins the podcast. I didn't get enough nerdy questions. I was kind of disappointed about that.
I mean, if you want to get some nerd questions, we could ask, like, could a lightsaber cut through adamantium?
See, that is the kind of nerdy question that I was hoping for. But I kind of realize that I'm a bigger nerd than anyone else, and that's why I'm disappointed. Okay.
I love that. I think Mark Hamill, just for the adamantium question, I think someone asked Mark Hamill the question of could a lightsaber cut through Captain America's shield? And he said something, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of, yes, it could, but then Captain America would have shuriken ninja stars and you'd be really in trouble then. And I was like, Mark Hamill, you are the best.
I think to answer that question, the lightsaber has enough heat to melt any fictional metal. Any fictional metal that can be wrought into something. Like adamantium and vibranium have to be molded, right? So at that point, they have to be able to melt
They
them.
have to be. I remember in X2 he says like you've got to keep the metal hot because once it cools, it's indestructible.
Yeah, so you would have to go through it slowly.
So, let's see.
Oh god.
At some point, I want to get to questions. So let's start here.
Some people have said that lightsabers are around 28,000 degrees Celsius, which would melt both adamantium and vibranium. This means that lightsabers can cut through Captain America's shield, but it wouldn't on the first swing, because it would have to take time to melt it.
You would need to go with a really slow sweep.
Like,
he would
shout
have
out to Phantom Menace, the beginning of that movie.
He would have plenty of time to move. So, you'd go over it and it could block and he could prevent you from doing that again.
So you're saying the solution is to Anakin Skywalker him? When he tries to, double flip over you, it's like,
you just need the high ground and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I feel like, just
You
hand-to-hand
underestimate my
combat,
power.
Captain America would be able to beat a Jedi in hand-to-hand combat.
I fucking love that line in the third movie.
That is, I remember watching that in the cinema, and bear in mind,
There's a lightsaber fight for 45 fucking minutes, and then he gets the high ground and it's over? That's such bullshit.
It's like you guys have been fighting over lava. And because, oh no, I'm 2 feet higher than you now on a slightly craggy bank. It's like, now I've won.
You underestimate my power.
And then he says that and immediately gets bitch slapped to the ground with 3 of his limbs missing. It's like, if you didn't want that to be funny, it's hysterical.
By the way, next week I think I want to do an Anthem podcast where we go ahead and we talk about what we really want and what it needs, and we can get into stuff like that. So let's start with an Anthem question, which we'll get into next week. Scott Jones asks, how much trouble is BioWare in? Do they need Anthem to be a huge success for them to survive, or can they take somewhat of a hit?
They would, I would say they definitely need Anthem for EA to be considering future investments, but I think at the moment Dragon Age 4 is safe. Project Joplin might be in jeopardy because we don't know what that is yet. But I would say that tentatively, yes, I think they know it enough at least to give it a shot to wrap up on Anthem, and then finish DA4. But I think if it is a categorical failure, which I don't really anticipate it being, I've seen a lot of excitement, not necessarily from the hardcore BioWare community, but people in general seem to be excited for it. So I would say it seems like it's going to be relatively a success.
Maybe.
So I think if it is successful, successful maybe, because these things are hard to fucking predict. But I would say tentatively that I think BioWare will be alright, as long as EA.
It's not entirely up to them, is it?
No.
Well, I mean, it's not up to them, but no, I feel like there is a lot riding on Anthem, kind of like what Seeker said. Dragon Age 4 is safe, but if Anthem fails, I think they are going to close down BioWare, but keep a small bit of it open for Dragon Age 4, and then once that's out, BioWare is done. If Anthem doesn't do well.
They'll do that before they see if Dragon Age is a success or not?
Oh, yeah.
I think it will just be a thing of okay, we're wrapping up this franchise,
it would be so like that,
fans don't kill us in our sleep.
Unless Dragon Age 4 pulls the biggest rabbit out of their hat, it wouldn't. I don't think if Anthem fails, I don't think it would be good enough for BioWare to stay around. And I also think because BioWare does know a decent amount, not the entire company, but a decent amount is running on Anthem. So I don't think that they're going to have any cliffhanger endings. I can't imagine that Anthem's going to have a cliffhanger ending. I think it's going to be like the original Halo. Where
I'm still worried about Anthem's story. I got to be honest. I haven't seen shit about it.
I feel like it's going to be kind of like Halo, that it's going to stand up on its own and kind of have its own contained story with hints of bigger things are out there, but in itself just have a nice contained story. If Anthem does well, then it's because I don't really think Anthem 2 is going to be happening quickly. I think it's going to be obviously DLC.
Well, if they'll hopefully won't go too much in the Destiny thing where every single Destiny sequel, including Destiny 2, has been DLC basically.
Well, I can't imagine them immediately going up starting Anthem 2.
Theoretically, Anthem's not coming out at a great time if the next consoles are coming out.
Yeah.
So,
what do you mean? I mean, look at what GTA 5 did.
Yeah, that is how many other games have done that.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
No, they came up with the next
4,
version every year.
Call of Duty Ghosts, Battlefield 4, South Park, The Stick of Truth.
No. Not in the way that they keep on coming out with DLC for it.
So wait, what's the stipulation again?
The stipulation is I'm going to move on to the next question.
Damn it! Because there were a decent amount of games that came out on the past gen, being 360 and PlayStation 3, that then got re-released on the current generation.
Yeah, there's a difference between re-release and having a mega super success.
I mean, fucking Destiny did that. So Anthem could absolutely
Destiny
do that.
came out on the new platforms immediately.
And it came out on 360 and PlayStation 3.
Yeah, it got ported back to those, but that's not what's happening here.
But Anthem could pull either something like that or like what GTA 5 did, which is just release on past gen, which I think GTA 5 came out like a month before new gen or current gen.
I thought it was longer than that, but I'm not sure.
GTA 5.
I thought it was like a year, which is kind of the time frame that you're doing that.
September 17th, 2013 was GTA 5, so...
And wasn't the PlayStation the next year? PlayStation, Xbox next year?
The PlayStation 4 was November 15th, my fucking birthday, November 15th, 2013.
Oh, okay.
So it was 2 months after that, and GTA 5 also launched single player only, didn't include multiplayer. Multiplayer came out October 1st. So it could pull something like what GTA 5 did, simply look stunning and everything like that be essentially one of the last grace of this current gen of just like a fantastic looking game. Because you can look at GTA 5 on the 360 and PlayStation 3,
but
it still looks good.
My point is that GTA 5 is a special game, and we don't know enough about Anthem. That's hard to do.
I mean, Anthem could be a swan song.
I'm not saying it couldn't
For,
be.
like,
I'm just saying
this generation.
That's not a great thing to rely on that. And you're going to rely on it being as good as GTA 5? Because that's ridiculous. The technical aspect, unfortunately, I'm starting to have a hard time waiting for Red Dead 2. I'm not really a cowboy guy, but they put
You've
so
only
much
got
detail
like
in
10
their game.
days.
It's not enough.
Red Dead
hard.
2. Red Dead 2 has some of the most minute details. That's
Exactly.
amazing. Like,
Rockstar makes
balls-
good games, man.
Horse balls will shrink when you're in the cold areas. There was an entire news article about that.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I
I
love
wish
that.
I
What
wish
really
Rockstar.
threw me is when they did that trailer and he gets thrown out of a bar into the mud and then squares up for a fight. But I was just looking at the mud that sticks to it. It's like you can see literally the water and the mud, and I was like, how is this much detail? How is this possible?
It's kind of
Like,
ridiculous,
this
really.
is science fiction now. We're officially in science fiction level games.
Your character can suffer from fatigue and overeating. So you actually have to eat when you're going through, or your character will suffer from that. To change your player's hair, you actually have to grow out your hair. Your hair procedurally grows as time goes on. And that's how you can change it.
Yeah, so that kind of helps to my point. Rockstar goes crazy with that stuff. BioWare has yet to reach that level, which is not fair because nobody has yet to reach that level.
Well, I mean, there are minute details in a lot of games that are just small things you miss. Like in
don't stack up,
Battlefield
though.
1, if you're aiming down a scope, the player model actually closes one eye properly to look through the scope. Like, that's a minute detail in Battlefield 1.
So how does that relate to horse testicles? On
I
a
can make
scale
this
of
work.
minute detail, what is that?
Closing eyes on a first-person character that you'll never see that you'll never see.
That's, I mean, you do see it
Well,
because
weren't
horse
there like
testicles you'll see.
multiplayer games? Yeah.
Yeah, but
There
do you
was a
ever get close
multiplayer
enough to
mode.
look at someone's clothes, like...
You know what my favorite story of that was? There was a comedian who's, I believe, Iranian or Iraqi. I can't quite remember. I only saw this little segment of his, but he was saying like, how terrific, how excited he was to be able to play a Call of Duty game that was set in basically where he grew up, and he's like, in this game, there are, the shoelaces bounce, you can see the sweat on people's foreheads, the amount of detail that's committed to this game is insane. Except for one glaring detail where all the road signs and all the language that the people in this city spoke was, I believe it was Arabic, whereas the most common language in that city was Urdu. So it was like, holy shit, how do you fail research that badly? Like,
games have a hard time with languages. Not like, but like historical languages or doing different languages. It's difficult. They don't do it very
Put it this
well.
way, if Assassin's Creed is able to get enough researchers together to to a certain degree accurately portray a time period, I think the people who make Call of Duty, whose name escapes, Activision, can fucking Google image some road signs in that city to make sure they're speaking the right goddamn language.
Are you sure it's Activision, not Trey? Wait, which Call of Duty?
I have no idea. I'll have to research that, guys. Hang on.
Because
I'll
there's
see if I can
Treyarch,
find him.
Activision, and Sledgehammer now. That all make...
Activision is the not the developer though. It's the producer. So they're on.
But
They
they
produce all
foot
of
the
them.
bill for it. But they foot the bill for it. So my
And
point
actually-
essentially stands.
Actually, a little bit of a fun fact. I had a friend that worked on Call of Duty World War II.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he and I, we worked on both. We were both in the bachelor degree. We were working on our final game project together, and I went to do the master's degree, and he ended up working at Activision.
In my opinion, we're talking too much about Call of Duty, which scores very poorly on the BioWare scale, which I'm going to finally put into a mathematical formula. It's probably too nerdy. At the moment, I came up with a prototype. It's so ridiculously minute. There's like scores of like it's too hard. So I have to fix it.
Now, a question though, because like one of the things is romance in that. What if we count a game like World of Warcraft where people found actual romance through the conversations they had and the power of friendship?
I don't know.
That
is an excellent question.
Because if we count that, then that opens up a lot more fun things.
I met my boyfriend because I, years and years ago, posted a few YouTube videos talking about Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and he watched them, and we became friends on Twitter, and now we're dating. So there
look
you
at
go.
that.
Yay, it's a nice story.
Yeah, well, it's on a scale. I don't know how that works. If you in the comment section have opinion on that, I'd actually damn curious to see what
Tell
you
us
have
your
to say.
relationship stories in the comments down below.
You don't have to do
will
that.
read them with a sultry voice as he slowly sips coffee in a 3-hour-long solo podcast.
If there's something salacious enough, I will sip coffee and read it in a voice like that. But
He'll
not
have
for
a
3
nice
hours.
small thing of wafers, and he'll just...
So originally, I planned back-to-back questions that were related to each other, and I don't know why I do that.
Okay,
this is
here we
another
go. I
Anthem
actually found
question.
it. Hang
On a
sorry,
scale of, you
just
found what?
give me this moment. Yeah, I found the. Remember, I said the comedian mentioned the wrong language thing. It was Kumail Nanjiani. Sorry, I can't pronounce his name. He was talking about Call of Duty. He doesn't say which one it is, but one of the levels was called Karachi, which was a city he grew up in. And the language we speak in Pakistan is Urdu. That's the name of the language we speak, Urdu. But all the street signs in Karachi and Call of Duty are Arabic. Yeah, it's a completely different language. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but this game took 3 years to make. If you look at it, the graphics are perfect. You can see individual hairs on people's heads. When they run, they sweat. Their shoelaces bounce when they run. And all they had to do was Google Pakistani language. What language do they speak in Pakistan? I don't care if I can't get his sideburns even. You know.
And then in the other form, there are TV shows like Futurama that create an entire language.
Game of Thrones has created multiple languages. Star Trek has created multiple languages.
This actually works as a segue. So we're talking about all this stuff that we're really passionate about. How about Anthony Alexander wants to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Anthem? And I'm thinking, how does this compare to this stuff that you're really excited for? 1 to 10,
okay.
Go. You need a number.
8.7.
9.
9? You guys actually that excited for it?
8.7.
Yes.
Wow. What are you excited
9.
about?
I'm excited about the new possibilities of the BioWare team and the BioWare writers taking something I love and sort of trying new things with it in a way I hope they succeed. I genuinely think they have, from what I've seen, they seem to have enough of a foundation to at least have some interesting story directions, like the gods who left all their tools behind and they buggered off for some reason. That's interesting. Tell me stories about that. I'm intrigued by this. I like the idea of Fort Tarsis and first-person interactivity there. I like the idea of all these things. And not to mention the world itself looks fascinating. Like, I've used this comparison before, but like James Cameron's Avatar meets Attack on Titan. I like that premise. I'm very excited for the game. The only reason I'm not a full 10 out of 10 for it is honestly just because I think with a little bit more information, I'm just still a little bit wary of a few elements, but I feel like, especially because I've been paying attention to like Mark Dara's tweets, a lot of reassurance from the devs that have come in the form of like things that weren't necessarily like press junkets or anything. So I feel that I had a lot of reassurance, but there's still some elements of it I wish that like I knew more about.
Simply put, the reason I'm excited for it is I will always support new IPs. Mm-hmm. I will always support big companies making new IPs because that company is taking probably the biggest risk that any company can do, because big companies, EA, Activision, Microsoft, stuff like that, they go for sequels because they know we have this fan base, everything like that. We have hundreds and thousands of fans and everything like that for this game. Just create a sequel and we know that will sell. But when a company decides, make a new IP. Not just that, but this is a new IP that's different from anything else that BioWare has made. This has a lot of implications of first-person perspective. The open world of Anthem and the way you go around the world too is completely different than any other game.
That is true.
Travelands,
I'll
you're
absolutely
going
give you that.
underwater, you're flying, you are maneuvering all around. They're not. It doesn't look like they're littering you with hundreds of different things to choose from, like different abilities or things like that. But it's still this is BioWare's own unique spin on the open world gameplay, which is something that they touched a bit with Mass Effect Andromeda, but this is an entire new IP built around that, and I will always support that. So
I'm absolutely buying this game, and I support it. I'm not excited for it. I'm going to give it a 3, and I'm serious about
why
that.
Why so low? Why so low, though?
I haven't seen anything regarding the story at all. They're like, oh, this is interesting, but they're saying this is interesting. They're not showing this is interesting. They're saying, oh, it has a good story, but they're just saying it has a good story instead of actually showing story trailer and stuff. This game is coming out in months.
I feel like they have to do that, though. Because
why? You can tease stuff easily. You can tease the main plot. You can say this is wrong. These bad guys are doing this, or
because
we're
of the
on
reception of Mass Effect Andromeda, and as well as the ending of Mass Effect 3, and the issues that people had with story Dragon Age Inquisition, which I just
all the more reason to show that they have a story here.
But
now you're leaving it up to our imagination.
You don't want to, if you give away your story with a brand new IP,
I'm not saying you give away the ending. I'm saying you let me know what's going on.
But you can extrapolate the ending if you're given too much preface.
Well, okay, that is something that BioWare in the past has been really good at. They've been really good at twisting it. So if they're not going to twist it, I'm less interested than I was before.
It's just I feel like BioWare doesn't want to say much about Anthem. Yeah, they're obviously excited about it. They want to show some things, but they want to hold back as much as they can because it's something brand new, and they want you. Every developer wants people to go into their game and get the best experience possible, and the obviously the best way to do that is not knowing
like 10 days?
every single thing about that. Something awesome that like Red Dead Redemption 2 is doing, and that game comes out next week. Yeah, and honestly, there is minimal that is actually they release some small details like the horse testicles, things like that, but that's not going to do much.
Yeah,
But what I'm meaning is they're giving small details.
I want to counter this before you get going too well.
How many trailers are there with Red Dead Redemption 2?
Rockstar is in such a good place right now and has such a good reputation that they do not need to do that. They don't need to.
What about Mass Effect Andromeda?
How was the critical reception of that?
But look at how much information they dropped, and they already got critically slammed before the game came out because they dropped
I get that,
everything.
but it doesn't matter. Well, they didn't have something there, which is important. But I mean, you got to start selling people on this game. You got to. You absolutely have to. They need it. We just went over this. They need this game to be successful. A mystery with a company that people are starting to lose confidence in is not anywhere near as intriguing as a mystery with a company that people have a lot of confidence in.
But if they show too much, then people won't.
I'm going to look at Destiny is a very comparable game because it looks like that EA wants BioWare to go with something similar to that. I don't have any inside information of that. But going into Destiny, all you knew about the story is that there's one city
had
left.
No story.
Hold on. Shut the fuck up. Let me go. All right. All they said is that there's one last city and you have a bunch of aliens coming for you and they want to take the power. That's all I need. That's something that I was interested in.
Yeah.
Now, and then I was not into the story after that. There wasn't a story. But that didn't ruin shit.
The story.
It didn't ruin shit. There could have been a story. There was something to get you intrigued in.
There was nothing to ruin.
It's different than saying, oh, we have a story, instead of showing that you have a story. Those are different things.
But they had nothing. I mean, look at Fallout 76. Man, a multiplayer Fallout game. People have been begging for that for years, and they finally are coming out. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Dude, people have been wanting that for years. And now they're finally coming out with it, and people are excited as hell. The game comes out soon, but they've been dropping so much information. People are already posting videos about just how boring it looks, because they're putting out like 30-minute gameplays. They're talking so much about it.
All right, Tucker, there is a difference between one video and 30 videos. I need one video. I need one.
Too much about Anthem. It will ruin it.
Okay. I'm just telling you from a standpoint of where I'm at, and a lot of people I know as far as BioWare fans, I am not interested in this game. I am buying it exclusively to see what BioWare is up to, and I can do that because I got money from a YouTube channel and I'm actually curious. There are people who are not going to buy this game because they haven't sold it. And we went over how this game needs to be successful, and they're not selling it. That is my point.
But
Ninius, do you remember that really awesome cinematic trailer for Mass Effect 3? Imagine if Anthem has something like that closer to release, like say January time, I guess, would be about the right time to do it. Imagine if they drop one close to release. And honestly, for Mass Effect 3, do you remember the one where they did one for both male chef and female chef, and it was photorealistic, and you had the little girl running through the sunflower field? So I'm saying that, do you remember how excited everyone got for that? Because I do. Everyone was super
that one? All right.
excited for that.
That's a different one. I remember the trailer that people got excited that was actually like a year before the game came out. And that was the one in London. That was one of the most exciting video game trailers I've ever seen. But that told you more about the story in Mass Effect than anything that we gotten in Anthem so far.
I agree. I very much agree. But also they had 2 more games of build up for that, so brand recognition, yada yada yada. Anyway, but my point is, I would much rather a game release too little information than too much. If I go into Anthem and I already have a rough idea how the first 30 hours are going to play, I'm going to be disappointed, because if you've revealed too much to me, then the initial part of it is just going to be a slog to get through.
I got that. I'm not asking for 30 hours of story. I'm asking for an underlining plot thing to get me interested. Not what the finishing is. I want to know what's up. And then you can take me on a roller coaster ride from there. I don't know.
I love how it was like, okay, we're going to have one question for Anthem, and we have just gone.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to talk about Anthem next week, because we talked about for about a half an hour here. But
absolutely, we should talk about Anthem.
All right. Well, I want to cover lots of stuff. So, but just to get into that, there are differing scales. I'm not saying spoil the game, but you two are very excited for Anthem, right?
Oh,
and you're saying lots of people who are excited for Anthem. I don't. It's the opposite on my end. There are lots of people who are not interested in Anthem at all, and I'm curious to know. In this is a good question. So in the comments section, Anthem, how your excitement 1 to 10.
Actually,
I want to know.
That I'm kind of happy that seems like the majority of the BioWare community, or at least the vocal majority of the community, is not excited for the game. I'm actually kind of excited with that, because I do genuinely feel like Anthem is going to be a decent game. Probably not great, 10 out of 10, perfect game, everyone must buy, but I do feel like it is going to be a great game. So with a lot of people not looking forward to it, I feel like it'll be a great underdog to pop up of people
lowest
going
expectations.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't.
Yeah, that could be true.
I'm not really looking forward to it because it's not a BioWare game or what people see as a BioWare game. This is them doing something different. But then when the game comes out and gets decent reception, I feel like then people will be like, okay, I'll give it a try, and they'll try and be like, oh shit, hey, this was good.
Yeah, there are also going to be people who are not going to do that because of what's happened recently.
They are
to mention
not fun.
Not to mention that there are people that are going to jump in on Anthem that we're not aware of because they haven't played previous BioWare titles. This could be BioWare's shot at reintegrating an entire new fan base into their previous titles.
It looks like the Destiny community is trying to find something to go towards, and it seems like what they're going towards is Anthem.
So I'm in a middling perspective here. Depending on how this game... I think the game's going to be good. I'm serious. I know my excitement level is a 3, but I seriously doubt that BioWare will make a game that I don't enjoy. However, I do not like this direction they're going in, and there's a part of me that doesn't want this to be a success because I don't want them to make starting these kind of games.
So wait, so you don't want a company to make a brand new IP?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a multiplayer-based game out of a story-based company is not what I want. I would love a new IP from Bio. I would love a spiritual successor to Mass Effect. And by spiritual successor, I mean the way Dragon Age was to Baldur's Gate. Something like that. That's a new IP.
I'm looking on the Mass Effect subreddit just because I was really curious if anyone was talking about like Anthem on there. And the top post currently on the Mass Effect subreddit has Andromeda misspelled.
That's not good.
So shout out to Gwen Blide 7. You know, yeah. Buddy, you misspelled your title.
Gwen is mostly a girl's name. Gwen's a hot name, by the way. There.
Hey Gwen, if you want to know, Minius is single. He's ready to mingle.
She might be 14. Okay, I'm just saying Gwen's a hot name. If your name is Gwen, hi, how you doing?
Hey, what's happening? I'm Minius.
You literally turned into like Joey Tribbiani for a second. Then. Hi, how you doing?
How you
Gwen,
doing?
like Gwen of indeterminate age with a hot name. Go.
I forget the age thing. Okay.
So does Gwyneth Paltrow, does she like do stuff to you?
Gwyneth, she's more of a Gwyneth than a Gwen, but
what about Gwen Stacy?
What do you mean? Yes, Gwen Stacy. What do you mean? Does she
like
do
3
stuff to me?
Gwens I can think of.
Do stuff to me? Like
Gwen Stefani?
Do you mean
does
do
she,
stuff?
Like give you the saucy sauce? Like does she?
Oh my god! Do you know what the root of the name Gwen comes from?
The square root of Gwen.
Maybe able to guess it.
Is it G?
Yeah.
The square root of Gwen is G.
Oh, the origin of the name is Guinevere.
Also hot.
That's why. Yeah, also very hot. There have been a lot of hot Guineveres in fiction.
There we go.
Or portrayed by a lot of very hot ladies.
So what about like Gwen Stefani?
Absolutely.
I just said Gwen Stefani!
All right.
No one listens to me.
There's not a really good way to move on because we're not going to get as passionate about any of these other topics. I'm sorry.
Not with that attitude, we're not.
Okay, let me fix my attitude. Let's see. Oh, here's one that kind of fits in with what we're talking about. Michael Redman asked for. This is a direct response to me asking for nerdy questions. Michael Redman wants to know who has the best ass in all of the BioWare games. And the best abs. And question for you, Seeker. I'm not into the males. What is the... I guess the male equivalent are the female guys looking at asses. Girls look at asses too. So that's the equivalent, right?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
He also asked for best abs, but I think best ass will work it. Male and female best ass.
Yes, okay, so best abs.
I'm not into abs. Are you into abs?
I'm
also
more of a whole package kind of person.
whole
just
package. Including
shut
the
up.
personality.
More
I
like,
mean, does Shepard count?
Yeah.
yeah. My first thought when you said who is the best ass was Kane Lalenko. Honestly,
I
because
assumed
he's
that was
pretty much
yeah.
he's the only male character I can think of that a potentially female character gets to ogle if you're a player character. I don't recall any more blatantly, here's some fan service stuff for women.
Yeah, okay, for male, yeah.
Yeah, for a male character.
I mean, in Dragon Age, they're all wearing pantaloons, so it's very difficult to...
I know, it's very unsexy, but, God knows, I think the person who'd probably have bear in mind, I'm basing this assumption off of a lot of fan art I've seen, but I really like the way Zevran's abs tend to get portrayed. Like, he tends to be very lithe and svelte and Alistair, I would also... you can get him.
I think Alistair has a beer belly.
No, he is a slightly squishy cheese belly. That's what he has. And it's soft and nice, and I love him very much.
Tucker, best ass.
But best female ass, oh god.
I mean, I might.
I know Casey Hudson's pick. It's Miranda, because that ass is in your face entire.
I know, it's too much. It's too.
Isn't it over? It's a little over the top. I don't care. I like that ass.
I'm about to drop something here. I do not find Miranda attractive in any sense.
And you're ridiculous.
I like Yvonne Strahovski. I just think that the wedgie she would have to have that ass at all times. It's far too distracting for me to look at her ass and just be like, you must be in so much discomfort right now. I can't separate it from that.
That's
Whereas
fair.
someone who's far more comfortable,
I just Googled Mass Effect asses, and I'm just looking.
Excellent. What comes up when you do that?
A bunch of asses.
Yeah, but whose asses?
Let's see. There's Miranda. There's Tali. Edie.
Liara has a very nice ass.
I like Tally's hips. Although, yeah, who knows?
Man, there's one of the design principles called hip. Shit.
Hip
Waist
shit.
To hip ratio. It's called waist to hip ratio, and it helps define the attractiveness of a female and the attractiveness of a male.
Okay.
And
so basically, the only reason you're attracted to Tally is because she meets this hip-waist ratio.
No, their hips are unnaturally alien. I don't need a ratio.
Her waist is proportionate to the ratio.
I dropped that fact in the video, and I mentioned that is one of the reasons why you find some of the characters attractive, is their waist to hip ratio. And this one woman went off on me.
Hawk has a very nice ass. I would say that now. Hawk has a very nice ass. Now I'm thinking about it.
It was shout out to that woman, whoever you are.
You do not need a skinny waist to have an awesome ass. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, there's
that's ridiculous.
Although I'm not a butt guy, I'm a boob guy.
There you go. I am a butt guy, and I got to be honest.
I understand that.
Digital butts don't entirely do it for me. So it's digital.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult question for me to answer.
What about Jacob? What about his abs?
Oh, he's too.
Nobody likes Jacob.
Gym bunny.
Well,
He's a gym bunny who spends far too much time on his abs for it to be even remotely resemble a personality. He is a very attractive shell with no personality.
All right, I'm looking up Mass Effect abs.
Mm-hmm.
The Mass Effect abs. I don't think the technology's there to really do the abs. They really look painted on. But then again, I'm not like ogling over him.
He's got a body though. Like he's rocking that.
Who is?
Jacob. Like.
Yeah, because it was like the one bit of. I've seen Jacob's love scene. It's like, oh yeah, heavy risk, but the prize. And then he kisses Shepard and just like rips his shirt off. It's like, this is a very presumptuous seduction attempt, mate. Back the fuck off. Oh Jesus.
All right.
It's just like, cause yeah.
All right. Since we're on this theme, Chris Judd wanted to know more about: would you prefer more adult themes in console game platforms?
Yes.
In consoles in general?
I only have the words that he said.
So
adults.
in general games, not just BioWare or Mass Effect games, just like, do we want more?
No, this is in general. He had I asked him to clarify, so let me pull this up.
Absolutely not.
And
I would say, put it this way, there is a certain percentage of the general public who, and they're the same percentage who thinks that cartoons are just for kids and they're just kiddie shit. I think there's nothing stopping games from being elevated to really high art, and there's no story that they can't tell if they want to. So the idea of nothing holding games back from stories they could potentially tell. Now, let me just clarify. In terms of like adult themes, I mean more mature storytelling.
Let me clarify what he meant about that, because he actually went out. This is a direct quote. I'm thinking the normal things of sexy times, gratuitous violence, and innuendo.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Now,
if it's just to be like, just so we can say fuck and have a few more tits in it. No, absolutely not. I thought it was going to be...
not even just that, but even games where there are some of those adult themes, but they even minimize that a bit. If there are more games that start having more nudity and things like that, it minimizes the market. And that if they start adding more stuff in, and that will cut people out, either kids who can't now really play video games much because more and more of them are having nudity in it, so parents don't want kids to play video games, which that will always be an argument thing of parents never want to. But
that
there's
is a
that.
Good point.
Also, people who just don't want to do, like, man, I love seeing me some nice sexy fun time, but I don't want that in every game. Like I don't want to be playing. I was going to say Far Cry because I just finished playing Far Cry 5 Faith's storyline in that. But like Far Cry 3 had the boobies and everything. So did Far Cry 4. But it's just like when that first happened and it's like surprise, it's right there and you're not expecting that. Sure, it's just like it felt different. It was just like, oh, okay.
I want to follow up on a point you just made, and I don't know where Scott Jones is from. I'm assuming if you're American, you know this. Americans are filled with sexual prudes.
Oh yeah.
So if you get into that, like literally, parents would rather see their 10-year-old watch somebody get decapitated and blood spray everywhere than a nipple slip.
Yeah, America's backwards with that.
Which is dumb as fuck. So
I think America and a few other countries, but are the only ones that are like violence is okay, but nudity isn't. But still, it's just like I don't want to be playing just a game and all of a sudden, unexpectedly, there's nudity. That
it's got to fit, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure, it might.
Did you guys
fit,
ever watch the?
But
there's this really there's this attempt by Square Enix to make a reboot of the Legacy of Kain franchise called Legacy of Kain: Dead Son, and the game died a death, but they
Kain and Lynch was solid.
Not Kain and Lynch, Legacy of Kain.
Oh.
And Legacy of Kain is about awesome vampires, but they tried to do a reboot. Now the two main characters of the franchise, Raziel and Kain, were entirely absent, and it was about some chuckle fuck who got possessed by a vampire. Now, the reason this is relevant is because for some goddamn reason, someone in the costuming department said, because there was a massive, along with a leak of this like 40 minutes of footage of how the game was going to play and a few cutscenes, there was a very long story of how much of a terrible time the team had making the game, and the pitch was Legend of Zelda meets HBO. So, what they did for when your character gets attacked by some vampire hunters, there's some dudes wearing some scrabbled together bits of armor. They look perfectly fine. But the women have like one boob exposed. Now, as a woman with a pair of breasts, if I was fighting vampires, the one thing I would hope to God I would do is get that shit taped down, just in case like a spare, like a blade or claw just sliced my fucking tits in half. It's like, why would you invite that shit?
Well, I mean,
just,
you gotta have like one calm and the other one crazy, like that's your party tip.
Yeah.
Calm thy tit.
I think, yeah, you there's weird adult themes in video games.
Also,
I'm not as into
yeah,
it.
so, and
I feel like
it wasn't remotely mature either.
I also feel like if they start bringing more of that stuff into just general games, it'll lessen the games that actually have it in there for impactful reasons.
Yeah, just to shorten my answer a little bit, I think it has mature storytelling has a place in a small percentage of games. I definitely believe that the majority of games should be, if not family friendly, definitely playable by children, teens.
Like,
definitely.
I'm just trying to also think of like even with games like Mass Effect and Dragon Age where there is nudity, if there are people just sitting there flopping about in the outside, just general.
Tucker, did you listen to any of the Dragon Age podcasts we did?
That would make it a bit less impactful when you actually successfully have a romance. Because
Depending on how much they're flopping, there's some impact.
well,
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
like there could you could be like going for this guy and he's like decent stuff, but you're looking behind them and there's like a band of merry men that are completely nude, doing like the jig.
I kind of want this. I kind of want this to happen now.
Band of merry men. What the fuck do you think goes on in Dragon Age? Do you just watch it? Tucker, I have a legit question. No. I have a legit question I need to ask you.
Yeah, what's up?
Instead of playing, did you hallucinate playing Dragon Age, but instead you just watched that Robin Hood scene from the first Shrek movie like 200 times on repeat? Is that what you think goes on in fucking Dragon Age?
Okay, I actually did kind of think that there was some like potential stuff there. I was kind of shooting the wind and hoping.
You're
It appears
hoping there's
I
a bunch of
misshot.
jolly naked men.
It appears well.
I
See,
mean,
The sexual innuendo in this show is out of control.
Well, the only thing
Stop
I really
misshooting.
remember, like the big things I remember from Dragon Age was I would sit in the bar and listen to the bar songs. So I'm just thinking of like drunk merrymen dancing.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I haven't gone into all the options, but I don't ever recall many nude jig men flopping
No.
around.
You don't even get Tucker. You don't even get to see penises in the game, for God's sake.
I didn't know
Like,
that.
okay, unless there's that story, unless that you've modded it, and there's that very hilarious story that I told with AD, which is a very sad moment where you see a fallen comrade that's been crucified, and of course the game only anticipates the nude mod being necessary for love scenes. So of course there's this crucified fallen comrade, and everyone's looking on very sadly while he's got a raging erection.
Solid.
Yeah,
Solid.
that's not actually in the game though. That is a mod.
No, that is a mod. That's
yeah.
it. The nudity part is a mod, but the moment where it happens is a bit of DLC. So, yeah, like I said, it was a mod, but it was a very hilarious mod.
So not sexy at all, really. I kind of I was
No.
creeped out. I did not know that, and
Not unless you
I'm
have a
still
thing for
kind of creeped out.
corpses. I'm still disappointed the Minius wouldn't let me put Iron Bull's dick in the podcast.
Yeah, you only sent the one with the black bar, so I don't know what he's packing still.
You are a liar. Because
So-
you
It was
said,
a-
whoa!
Wait, does he have a big black knob?
No, he has. Okay, put it this way. Someone looked at it from the what's it called, like the fly cam thing during his, because there is a scene where basically 4 different people walk in on you and him post coitus, because Dragon Age is amazing, and someone did the fly cam for it, and he's lying on the bed reclined because you only see him from the waist up. But where his junk is just a big black box.
Okay.
But someone figured out how to remove the black box to expose the actual dick that's there, and it is quite glorious. I
Yeah,
must
you
say.
sent the black box one.
No, I did.
Yes, you did.
All right, you want the dick pic?
No,
Minions,
I'm
I
just
will
saying.
Send you the dick pic.
Fine, send me
No,
dick
you.
pic. Don't.
If you
I'm-
insist on
whatever.
the dick pic, I will
Send your
send
dick
you
pics
the dick
to
pic.
Andromeda. or is
No,
that-
do not do that. Well, actually, you can send to Andromeda Nerds. It'd be really weird if BioFan still reads that.
No.
Former BioFan, and actually he might get real
Artist
angry
formerly
about that.
known as BioFan.
Artist finally known as BioFan.
So, elderly man Douglas Ferguson run over by lawnmower while trying to kill his son with a chainsaw.
I was showing that earlier.
That's
It's
bad.
like,
That's
fucking
bad
good.
luck. Or good luck.
Oh,
Police say 76-year-old Douglas Ferguson was trying to kill his son with a chainsaw when he was run over by a lawnmower, causing the elderly man to have his leg amputated. They misspelled the. My God.
So that doesn't sound like a real story.
Yeah.
Oh well. Here's the nerdy question. The question that wins nerdiness, and then we're gonna talk Spider-Man. Otherwise, Seeker's gonna fly out here and hit me in the face.
yes.
Edge Transit wrote in, said NASA sent a salami to space. Was this a good idea or a waste of good meat? Also, which meat would you fire into space given the chance? I looked this up. I'm
Olive
pretty sure
loaf.
NASA did not send a salami into space. Someone wanted
Olive
NASA
loaf.
to do it. I could not confirm this.
I would send olive loaf.
Olive loaf?
Yeah.
I think that would break apart immediately.
Good. Then there'll be less olive loaf on Earth.
But then the aliens will kill us because we sent them olive loaf.
No. they'll look at that and go, "Oh God, they are getting rid of this
Stay
monstrosity."
away from this planet. Ugh, whoever got away with this planet was clearly too evil for us to ever conceive
It
of.
looks like in the meat universe, it looks like that is the one that has the STDs.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. Steer this back
I
on.
don't know what I would send to space though. I like beyond what they've already done. Like they've done little time capsules where they send music out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I want to send out a nice thing to say like, oh hey, if there are any aliens, here's some nice music that
which has been done.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm saying, that's already been done, but that would be like my first reaction to being asked.
So not meat.
I know. Maybe like a nice gift basket of like chocolates and things that's just like, hey, welcome to the galaxy. It's just floating in space.
So while they're invading and they're like enslaving all humanity, as you walk by, they're like, "Hey, thanks for the chocolate."
Yeah, and then we can all blame Seeker for that.
Right.
I did see there was a video.
Hey, I would single-handedly guarantee the Swiss would live.
Well, if they like chocolate, what if they're allergic to chocolate?
Because they would make the chocolate.
is likely because they're alien.
Then we're all screwed.
Then the Swiss are gone.
Sorry, I did not single-handedly save the Swiss. Yeah.
Then the Swiss are gone. What are they going to do now?
What if they bomb only the Swiss? It's like, I'm so sorry.
I want them to actually just come. They cut Switzerland out of the earth and just take it and just peace out.
Like what? That like Bugs Bunny
that's
soaring
messed
off
up.
Florida thing.
That'd be funny though. No one would see that coming. People would just be like, "Wait, what?"
Especially since like Switzerland is landlocked, so you would literally have to like take chunks of mountain with just lakes.
Yeah, just right along the border,
right.
just right down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be great. Like they could do that on like April 1st, and then to bring it back the next day, be like, "Nah, just kidding."
Yeah, once you bring that back, that's not intact anymore. By the way, there is someone who did send a salami to space, and it was anticlimactic. I saw it with a balloon. So yes,
there
a waste of good meat. Although they parachuted it back down.
There was a thing that was sent to space, and it's still going. What was that called?
They're all still going, man.
Well, no. There was one thing that had like a bunch of information on humans, our planet.
Yes,
and
you're talking about
essentially-
Voyager
that-
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad worked on that, by the way.
Oh,
Very
shit,
proud
that's
of
awesome.
that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, my dad had
That's
worked
amazing.
on like the communication system for the human object that is furthest from the Earth. Yeah.
I wonder where Voyager 1 is right now. Like I just looked
It
that
is
up.
technically in interstellar space.
Voyager
I was
1
gonna say, didn't it
entered
just
interstellar
pass
space. Yeah,
something?
August 12th.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, didn't it just pass I want to say Jupiter?
No. That was
No,
its
it's in interstellar space since
it's all the way out of the
2012.
solar system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is impressive.
That is
And-
very impressive.
I mean, I love it. It's like if aliens see that, be like, "Oh man, look at these people! Oh, they look so delicious! Oh, where are they? You just take a leftover at Neptune? Oh shit, they're like right there. That'd be great."
I would love because just like the whole if say the only other bit of Earth culture they were exposed to was Independence Day, and then like Voyager 1 just like lands in their lap, like, nope, we ain't interfacing with that shit, and we remember what happened in Independence Day.
And
But it was a virus.
That's weird that they would watch that movie.
so here's a cool fact: we can actually still communicate with Voyager 1 and 2.
Yep.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That is amazing.
I'd like to answer Edge Transit's question too. I would like to fire a live cow into space, but I don't want to kill
Space
it.
cow.
Why?
I don't want to kill it. I want it to
Why?
be on the International Space Station.
You want a cow on the space station?
So
Well,
then we have
it
a
would-
space cow.
It'd be so fucking funny.
And wait, we need to train the space cow to steal money.
That would be the
Why?
best. What do you mean why? That's
Oh
an
my
awesome
God.
idea.
Oh,
We've sent
God,
monkeys
why?
into space. We've sent dogs. Now it's time for cows to make their debut.
And then, dude, just think of it's a cow, right? And if you're in space with it, you can start like spinning it around.
Oh my.
How would you milk
So
a
you can
cow
just
in space?
projectile shit everywhere. Do you know how cows shit and how much they have to eat? Oh my god, it's like the worst idea ever. Oh, can I just want to say a very quick thank you to the obscene. Your username is Obscenity Overlord, who left a comment a couple of days ago on the last podcast to Now, I was a little bit disturbed because he left a comment saying, grain moil seeker. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? I was like, I don't know what this means. And I Googled it, and that was actually the original Irish name of the pirate queen I was talking about, Grace O'Malley, whose name I couldn't remember. So thank you very much to Obscenity Overlord for knowing that and making me momentarily panic that, I don't know, maybe I was about to be cursed by some Irish curse.
Seeker likes
So-
her. I don't, because she's smelly, because she's a pirate.
So, some animals that have been in space are flies, musks, monkey, chimpanzees, guinea pigs, rabbits, frogs, dogs, cats.
I'd like to see a rabbit in space. I hope there's a video of that.
I want,
How rabbits get-
going back to that
Rabbits
cow
can
topic.
die from shock. Rabbits can die from shock, and you want to put one of those poor creatures in a fucking space
I'd
shuttle?
much
Are you
rather have a
insane?
cow, but that's funny.
Well, how would you milk the cow?
Why are you milking the cow? Why aren't you
Very
spinning it
carefully.
around?
Because
I don't know the mechanics of milking a cow, but I'd assume that you can do it.
yeah, but
I-
I mean, I
Have
feel
you
like that's
seen
part
how
of
they-
gravity.
Have you seen
No,
how
it's-
they mass milk cows at the moment? They just put these like sucker machines on them, and they're just away. So
Yeah,
I
I
imagine
thought it
would
was more
function
suction than
roughly about
gravity,
the same.
but I have never sucked on a cow's tit before, so I don't know.
No, neither have I.
Yeah.
I have milked a cow for like a school trip once.
Have you really? Okay, so you know more than you just kind of like squeeze it and it goes, right?
Yeah, and I. Funny thing, I've also breastfed myself. I understand how
Oh my
boobs and
God,
lactation
what the
works.
fuck?
What?
So
Why?
when you milk a cow, that comes out forcefully.
Wait, hold on.
You're in
Tucker,
space.
Tucker, you just completely ignored the fact that Seeker has milked herself.
Well,
How
yeah,
did you
she's a
skip
mother.
over that?
For the
'Cause
purpose
she-
of
she's a
feeding
mother.
an infant. That is what lactation is for.
Yes, she's a mother. She has a baby.
Yeah, but the baby gets milked, not the mother.
Yeah, she's not like she's
What?
not, like putting it into a milkshake
Genius,
or something
I think
for
you have
herself.
some
What do
very
you think that's going for?
desperate
All right,
misconceptions of how that works.
I don't
the
know.
baby gets milked, not the mother, was a sentence you just said.
right.
No, that's wrong.
What?
That's very wrong.
What do you
What
mean?
are you talking about?
Why are you drinking your own milk?
I'm not.
That's fucking I thought that's what you said.
No.
Okay, that's what I heard. I'm gonna go back and listen to
Then
this
you-
and see if I'm well. But that is why I'm reacting to this. Okay.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
That I thought you were milking yourself, and I was fucking creeped out. Like
No, not
Okay.
at all. Not
Okay.
at all.
I am very
But the
curious to see what
principle
you
is the
stop.
same.
No, this is more interesting, Tucker.
No, wait, just you fucking wait. So when you milk a cow, that comes out like forcefully. Like there's some thrust to that cannon. So
Yes.
if you're in space and you start milking it, it's gonna start firing the cow backwards too.
That's very possible.
Getting some sort of
I
pen.
think
Gonna be
this needs to
milking the
happen.
cow. The
Getting
cow's gonna
some
be like,
sort of pen.
All right.
But then
Congratulations.
again, you just be.
Congratulations to Edge Transit. You win the podcast. Thank you for
You should
that.
come on as a guest.
No, because that is very difficult. People are asking. I'm thinking about, and in the comments section, write
I
this
just
down.
invite everyone onto the podcast, and you just keep declining
I
them.
can't
Like,
because it's so fucking hard to do. You don't
Well,
have to do.
okay.
You literally do zero work for this show, and Seeker does quite a bit of work, and I do the rest. But I've taken no advice for giving. You're giving me more work, and I'm not cool with that. Stop it.
Well, we
You-
will
you
still
son of a
have
bitch.
that open invite. If the Queen wants to join
Yes,
the podcast,
that
the open
I'll follow
invite
through.
will always be there.
I think Toby Maguire also has an open invite.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
Toby
Either
McGuire, you know.
one. Yeah, that's different. Okay. The rest of this podcast, by the way, is going to be. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do the outro, and then we're gonna talk about Spider-Man until we're out of time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're getting to Spider-Man in a bit, but if you haven't played Spider-Man PS4, you should go do that. It's a great game. We're gonna talk
It
about
is.
it in a
It's
bit,
so good,
which
you
is
guys.
somewhat similar to what we're doing. So that's it for this week, but not really. If you like this show, tell your friends. If not, tell your enemies. We're happy either way. Accidentally Casual is a weekly podcast. Check our Twitters for the release date. It's always the same time, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 8 in the UK. It'll be out by Wednesday. I'm hoping to get this one out earlier. I'm at MiniusGC. Seeker is at SeekerCat5500, and Tucker runs at N7 Follower. It's still N7 Follower? Like, you're not going to change that?
Man, dude, some final things are coming through, so it's
Sweet. All right, our two most recent podcasts are also on SoundCloud. Woo!
Yay!
Active topic next week. We're talking about Anthem. What do you want out of it? Or am I too angry about Anthem? Should I stop yelling at Tucker about Anthem? Let me know. You can go accidentallycasual@gmail.com. I love the visuals you guys are sending. It's so cool. We're getting visuals.
Yes,
I love it.
please.
Seriously.
We love it.
If you go around in your
good.
neighborhood and take pictures of wildlife, including like ugly possums and raccoons, which I don't think they have in Europe. You don't have raccoons in Europe, right?
Nope.
Do you know what a raccoon is?
Well, I've seen this documentary called Guardians of the Galaxy, so I think
That's right. I forgot about that. Why did I forget about that? But yeah, there are raccoons in space and in North America, but not in Europe.
Yeah.
Anyway, accidentallycasual@gmail.com is the address. I might have already said that. But you can catch extra content on our YouTube channels, BioWare Central eventually, and MiniusGC. So we're talking Spider-Man in a bit, but if you're leaving now, for Seeker Cat and the Tucker, I'm Minius. We game happy when we talk about Spider-Man. Woo, Spider-Man, we're still going. I completely threw people off. All right, so Seeker has been begging me to talk about Spider-Man for this. Seeker, go ahead and take it away. And we'll join
quick, fun fact on Spider-Man.
Yes.
So, the voice actor who plays Spider-Man and the voice actor who
Yuri
plays
Lowenthal.
the police chief woman, they're married in real life.
Yes. It's adorable.
I did not know that.
That's right, it's a fun fact.
And you know what? Her name in the game is Yuri, and his real name is Yuri. So it's kind of adorable. And also, the Laura Bailey, who voices Mary Jane, is married to Travis Willingham, who voices Kingpin. So that is a weird ship. If you're going to be
those
like
two have been
real-life
in a
ship.
lot of stuff together.
Oh,
yeah,
yes, very
a lot
much
of
so.
stuff. I actually really enjoy Troy Willingham's name. Although I think I like Full Metal Alchemist too much. Which is possible.
When he gets they have such cute stories about doing, especially Brotherhood, where Travis looked at the before it was dubbed, Lust's death scene. Bear in mind, Laura Bailey voiced Lust, and apparently just sent her a text, which after listening to her screaming for about 2 minutes straight, just a text that was just ah ha 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 ha. And he called her after she'd done her session for it. And he's like, hey, hi, honey, how are you? And she's like, I'm fine. Because she just had to scream for like 3 hours straight of being burned alive.
I didn't think there was that much screaming. But yeah, there is some. There's a reasonable amount of screaming, isn't there? Okay.
I was going to say, and not to mention like sort of the fire sound effects, and it's going over and over and over again. So if you imagine like, let's do multiple takes of the screaming so we can kind of echo it from different locations. It's like, it's a lot.
To spin that back to Spider-Man, I was not a big fan of that Mary Jane, but I don't think Mary Jane's been done well for like 30 years. So. Not
to mention that Mary Jane in the comics originally pitched. She's essentially a girl next door fantasy. That's not true, actually. A damsel in distress.
Oh,
come on.
No,
really,
have you read the original comics?
Yes.
That's not. She's she's awesome, but it's not a girl next door fantasy.
Okay, but she's her aunt is Aunt May's best friend, so she's still got that kind of connection with Peter.
But Peter and her don't meet until like he's in college.
Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
I love that line.
I do know.
I love that line. That is such a great line. In fact, you got to watch. Actually, that's not. I said 30 years. That's not the Mary Jane in the Spectacular Spider-Man. Absolutely phenomenal. Vanessa Marshall kills it. So I think I'm just partially disappointed that Vanessa Marshall wasn't doing Mary Jane because she kills everything.
Is sitting in front of my mic
is
and is licking my face every time I go to the mic.
That's hot.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. But what I would say is for this Spider-Man, because they wanted to give MJ a function in the plot, it wouldn't make sense for her to be this sort of very, social butterfly actress type character. So they made her a journalist instead, which is a totally good move, because it also gives a sort of Betty and Veronica vibe between her and Black Cat. Because if you've got outrageously sexy model actress Mary Jane, and then you've got super sexy seductress Black Cat is like, well, these are kind of the same archetype. They're too similar. There's too much overlap to them. Whereas MJ is like, oh, career focused, but sweet and a bit adorable, but very driven. And Black Cat is like, I am going to flirt with you to make you flustered and then make you look like a total fool. Oh, and can I just say, I was so scared because Black Cat is one of my favorite characters in Spidey. And I was so worried that she was going to end up being just like Catwoman in Arkham City, where she was just terrible. Her characterization was awful because she was just a series of slinking around in a cat suit and terrible cat puns. There was no effort to delve into her personality or any sort of backstory or anything beyond just, oh, she's sexy and she's really hot for Batman, but and she, it's just, oh, it's terrible. I hated it. So when Black Cat came, I was like, please do her right. And her whole plan.
You are getting more of her in a couple weeks, by the way.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But her whole plan of, oh, chase these statues around the city for me, get them all collected in one place to knock out the security system so I can steal my gear back. I was like, thank you for getting Felicia. And not to mention, she gives up about like $1 million worth of swag.
I believe it was 50
to get her gear back.
Yeah.
Oh, $50
which
million.
Which means she's doing so. Hopefully that DLC works out.
Oh, I hope it does. Erica Lindbeck, who's the voice actress, is terrific. She's always good. And she did the mocap for it as well. So I don't like her suit, though. I don't think her suit is... Because that's the thing, there's certain aspects of costumes that I think should always be consistent. I've always loved the white fur around the collar that Felicia has, and she tends to have white fur on her legs as well. I always think that looks like a great part of the costume. I do like that it does seem to be more of like a military cat suit.
Yeah, it does. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah, it's like
I'm
latex.
looking at more of it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they could do with that though, but Black Cat is
like
always
I
been...
appreciate the direction they went in as opposed to, oh, it's just latex and just to accentuate her body as much as possible. No, like I'd much rather go with
which
like,
as a male I usually let that go.
Minius is a sexist pig. Moving on.
Her name isn't Gwen, so I'm less into her.
Jesus.
That's funny.
Oh, speaking of, okay, spoilers for the ending. Get out now.
This is a full spoiler. They're already out.
Yes.
I sent them away.
Yeah. I know, but I'm just making sure. How much, it's not a question of if, how much did you cry at the end when Peter has to sacrifice Aunt May to save everyone?
It actually got to me. Yeah, that's...
I was in floods. And you know what I did after that? Because after that, I got the suit that gives you the photo op opportunity. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Uncle Ben's grave. So I got all the way there, and I was looking around for it, thinking, how am I going to find this? And then the little thing popped up on the mini-map for a photo opportunity. I thought, oh, I bet that's it. And I had momentarily not realised that May would be next to Ben.
Did you take a selfie?
Despite the cutscene earlier. Fuck you. It's like, so May was there next to Ben, and I took a photo, and I was just like, wow, I am really sad right now. And then as I was walking towards Ben's grave, there was a little interact button, and I was like, oh no, don't do this. I'm already emotionally destroyed. Don't do this to me. And he reaches, I pushed the button because of course I did, and he reaches out to the grave, touches Ben Graves and says, hey Uncle Ben, I hope I make you proud. I was like, God damn it, just leave me on the floor in a puddle of my own tears, for fuck's sake, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man has been a huge part of my life and fictional characters, so yeah, that gets to me. That gets to me more.
So, Iron Fist has been canceled by Netflix.
We're still talking about Spider-Man.
Yes.
Who gives a shit?
Because it's Marvel.
Because Iron Fist was not a good show.
Dude,
but
I
Spider-Man,
like that better than Luke Cage.
I don't care. It's not a good show. But Spider-Man would be a good show. We're talking about Spider-Man. I thought okay.
I'm desperate for a Daredevil game. That's what I want more than anything.
Oh, they've already announced the Daredevil game. There is a
They
Daredevil
have?
game.
No,
being made.
they
Yeah.
haven't. No, they
Link
haven't.
Link me.
No, they haven't. Don't give...
Right now.
Yes, they have. I will show you a picture of what it looks like.
No, okay. Don't fall for Tucker's stupid shit.
What do you mean stupid
Jesus.
shit?
You have a lot of stupid shit, and you're saying more of it.
I don't know what you're talking
Anyway, so moving on to like Spider-Man that's just come out. I thought what they did with Fisk was great because it was definitely taking a leaf out of the Daredevil Netflix
I actually didn't
series
like.
book.
I didn't like Fisk in that. I really didn't.
Well, you didn't
I did-
in Daredevil?
No. Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about Spider-Man still.
Here.
Oh, okay.
Why
I
aren't
was
we
gonna say,
talking
like,
about Spider-Man?
Here you go.
I
Look,
said they were
Tucker,
taking a leaf
Tucker, I
out
want you to
Daredevil's
sign off of
book.
the podcast right now. We're trying to talk Spider-Man, okay? None of your stupid shit matters.
No.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter, including your fake
Tucker?
stuff you're sending.
Tucker, you are a terrible, terrible human being.
I
How
love
did-
you too, Secret.
You know what he's
You
just sent
didn't-
me? You know what he's just sent and put in the chat? A black fucking box because Daredevil is blind.
Yeah,
You are a terrible person.
we. I don't know why you didn't stand up for me when I said that wasn't a game. All right, Tucker's gonna leave now.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. So anyway, the villains, and I thought you were talking about yeah, Wilson. He looked funny. There hasn't been a good Wilson Fisk in video games. I'm kind of bummed
well,
about that.
look at him in the comics. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he's-
it works. I love that dude. It works in the comics. It works in like the animated series. It does not work in video games for whatever reason.
What
They
about?
haven't
No, I
done
thought
it.
it
What
was
do you think about the
hilarious.
Netflix interpretation of him?
That was
I don't care about the
Best
Netflix
version of
interpretation
Kingpin.
because we're talking about Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, no, because we're
Tucker,
talking about
stop
Winston
fucking
Fisk.
derailing the podcast. Holy shit.
That wasn't
Stop.
really.
It's not related.
But it was-
anyway.
We're out of time, by the way, because Tucker keeps on stopping up the
Oh,
fucking
okay.
stupid Netflix.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, I loved how they did Otto Octavius as well. They really humanized
I loved
him.
Octavius, yeah.
And yep, he
Loved
was
it.
great. I thought they managed to make the tentacles look really creepy without really overdoing it, because you could see how this was like medical technology that had been corrupted into something else, and I liked that. Oh, holy shit! That fucking Harry Osborn is going to be the host for the symbiote.
We
was
think.
not something I was anticipating.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
come
curious
on,
about
we
how they're
know
going to
it.
do that. I don't know if I want that. I really don't.
I want it. Hell
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
has he ever been the host of a symbiote in the comics?
Not that I'm aware of. I know the Flash Thompson was fleetingly.
Yeah.
But not what's his face? Whose name I keep forgetting? Because you know what, I keep wanting to call him James Franco rather than Harry Osborn.
Do you know that both
All right.
Groot and Rocket and Drax were also hosts of the symbiote before?
The symbiotes have gone everywhere. By the way, in one of the cartoons, Harry Osborn was a symbiote. Had the Venom thing going on. There's like pictures of him. Yeah.
I feel like the villains didn't get enough time. Like they spent a lot of time on.
That's true.
the
I mean, you're talking
negative
like
guy.
a lot of the Sinister Six.
Yeah, like the fight with Rhino and
Scorpion, and they're just bitching at each other. That was
Well,
I thought it was terrific.
I
But
mean,
you know
I
what
thought that was
was
fun,
really
but
funny?
like when they were causing mayhem early on, I thought we were gonna fight like Ryan. We're gonna fight some of them then and have multiple fights, but no, it was just Rhino causing destruction. When you get there, it's just standard enemy, just a standard
Yeah.
person to fight.
The boss fights were very lacking.
I mean,
I
I
they
thought
agree.
he
were
was
fun.
far more
It was-
threatening. I thought he was far more threatening in the Miles Morales segment than he was in the Spidey segment.
Yeah, because
I
Miles,
liked
Miles
that.
Morales didn't have any powers.
I hated those segments. Miles Morales,
They were too
because-
slow, in my opinion. They were too slow.
Yeah. And you know
I
there
thought they
is
set him
there
up
is
perfectly.
pacing. You know, you are supposed to have some slow moments which make your exciting moments more exciting. If it's always at 100%, your game will lose it. And that's the argument
that-
people have for Miles and for MJ and for all that. But the slowdown moments are when you're getting from point A to point B. It's an open world game. So those slow points are when you're flying or when you're swinging through New York. That is the slow time, right? You could do whatever you want, because then you can go do a side mission or take some pictures or something like that, and that's the slowdown.
Yeah,
But
Well, I
so
also
you
want to
slow
guys
down,
answer
you get to
quick.
an area,
Is this the,
but
yeah.
you slow
Is this
down.
the greatest Stan Lee cameo?
no,
No, the best one's
Because
Deadpool.
I think it is.
I don't think so.
It's my favorite.
There's too many good ones in the movies, including the one where he talks about all his cameos.
No, the best Stan Lee cameo is Princess Diaries 2. So,
Is he in that?
Yeah.
No, he's not. I'm not falling for your shit anymore.
No, he's in there. He's in Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement.
I've seen that movie a couple of times as a kid. I do not remember Stan Lee being there.
Yeah, well, he's there.
You know what I thought was adorable in
Don't watch that looking
the
for
fantastic. I won't. But although hilariously, Anne Hathaway, who played Catwoman, is in there with Chris Pine, who was Steve Trevor. So that's 2 comic book characters. Anyway, there is a moment in the cameo for the second Fantastic Four movie that they made in the early thousands with Chris Evans. When Sue Storm and Reed Richards are getting married, Stan Lee is trying to get let into the wedding, and someone says, "Excuse me, what's your name, sir?" And he says, "I'm Stan Lee," and the guy says, "Yeah, right," and then leads him away. I was just like, "Oh, that's so cute."
Yeah, see,
That's
there's
great.
so many good ones in the movies.
Yeah.
My favorite's the
I
Deadpool
just
one,
love that
where
one.
he's the stripper DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That
It
would be an
is
interesting.
chastity.
That would be an interesting segment, actually.
No, his best cameos were in Lego Marvel, the Lego Marvel video game.
I have not played that, so.
How about Guardians 2
Have you
when
ever,
they
have you
admit
ever
that he's
played
the Watcher?
the Lego games before?
I have played half
Yeah,
of
they're
one Lego
adorable.
game. It's just not my thing.
Which one?
They're adorable.
The first Batman one.
So you know how there were like canisters that you'd have to find throughout,
Yeah.
like the levels. Each level had a Stan Lee, who he was trapped by something, and you had to help him, as well as the open world part of the Lego Marvel game. Which seriously, like Lego Marvel game is one of the best Marvel video games, and I will fight anyone who disagrees.
Okay. Tucker and I are gonna
intimate.
fight later.
But there are moments where Stan Lee's just randomly up and around, and you have to rescue him. But no, seriously, the Lego Marvel game it's an original story. It
I don't
allows
care.
every single Marvel character you can go through. There's an
I also
open
don't
world
care.
aspect of going around New York with every single character you can play.
I
It is
don't care.
I
phenomenal.
like that. It's cute.
There are too
It
many
is
good
phenomenal.
games from the '90s before Activision really got a hold of it.
Nope, Lego Marvel is one of the best Marvel video. It's probably one of the best superhero video games in general. It is.
We have to end the podcast soon. I don't want to end it on this note. Fuck.
So
How do
I
change
wish that the boss battles were just more. That it wasn't just a
Yeah.
one-off and then it's done.
They
I
all
love
had. It was the
Miles
same. There's a lot of like Batman Arkham. Had a lot more interesting boss battles than Spider-Man, which is kind of a bummer. Although they're almost certainly going to make a sequel. It did way too well. It was like the best standalone
My
PS4
favorite.
game. Selling
Yeah,
wise.
one of my favorite scenes was literally the stinger right at the end when Miles is helping Pete move into a new apartment, and they reveal to each other that they are Spider-Man and are about to be Spider-Man. And it's like that's great that they each trust each other enough to reveal that to each other. And it's like, yeah, that's great.
Miles
Either that or
Morales
Miles doesn't
always hurts. He always hurts my feelings, and there are a lot of people who really love him. But the Spider-Man I liked the most was the Ultimate Spider-Man, and they killed off the Ultimate Spider-Man to put in Miles Morales, and I always hold that against him. I probably shouldn't. The real reason they killed off the Ultimate Spider-Man is because there's absolutely no reason for him to exist. So, because there was a real Peter Parker, and the Ultimate Universe fell apart. By the way, since Tucker spends too much time fucking talking about Daredevil, we're out of time. I literally have to cut this off. So,
No worries. Okay.
that's why I was yelling at you, Tucker. You wasted our fucking time. All right, is that enough for Spider-Man? We're going to get to it. I would love Spider-Man to be in the gaming club, but it doesn't quite fit. We'll run it through the BioWare meter when I get it up and working, which I will have to send you guys a draft of that, and you'll have to approve.
Hell yeah.
All right. So that is actually it for this week, but we already did the outro. So, Tucker, say something really, really stupid so we can end the podcast. Perfect. All right. We're done.
Because we just went ABC. I was thinking like Asari Batarian Collector. And then D, dragon.
E Elcor. F, what would F be?
I don't want to add to this conversation. I want to start the podcast.